Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the country. We're with First Things First, talking about whether or not it's disrespectful for the Texans to be 9.5-point underdogs. Let's just get to it.
Respectful because the Ravens have beaten 6 playoff teams, Coach, by an average of 21 points a game, including the Texans. Now, that was their first game this year. C.J. Stroud's first game ever. I get it. You kind of throw it out. But they beat them by 16. Lamar was rusty, too, to use your, know. So, yeah, I don't think it's disrespectful. You don't have to give him credit.
Not say to use your term. He didn't
I don't think it's disrespectful.
Yeah, I don't think it's disrespectful either. They've won 10 out of 11 games. Right. Defensively, they're first in takeaways. They're first in sacks. They're second in the red zone. They've got the MVP. They're well rested. They've got an extra week of preparation. And then on top of that, they're playing a rookie quarterback who's playing on the road.
So I don't think it's disrespectful, but I think the Texans win.
The game?
Outright. No, win outright.
Isn't that early? Are we early on
no, I don't. I'm not allowed to do upset alert, so I'm just putting it in right now.
Wow.
Just some notes. Since week 9, in games C.J. Stroud played and didn't get concussed and taken out of the game, games he started and finished, the Houston Texans are 7-1. They had a comeback win, 39-37 against Tampa, who's still alive. They had a 30-27 win against Cincinnati with a healthy Joe Burrow in the small window when Burrow was healthy. When Denver was hot and everyone was trying to sell me the bill of goods, they could be a playoff team. They ended their 5-game winning streak. They are actually, in my opinion, it won't actually go down like this in the record books, 2-0 in the playoffs. That Colts game was our first playoff game of the year. The winner of that game was into the postseason. The loser was 100% out. They won that game. They, at DeBrew's point, last weekend, demolished a defense that statistically was not just the best this year, was doing some historic things defensively. And I think this is where the lack of experience and the lack of pressure and expectations can work in their favor. This is an ultimate house money game, and I think that this type of team that started out that Colts game with a 75-yard touchdown that was throwing bombs all over Cleveland, I think they can win. And this is the part that Coach might roll his eyes at, but is it unfair to say I trust C.J. Stroud more than Lamar Jackson in this game?
He's undefeated.
Wow. It's a little bit early.
Yeah.
There you go. I knew
this is fitting.
What?
Because you have doubted. You've tried to, lessen it all, as Lamar's emerged and played great. But you've doubted him all year. You didn't pick him to make the playoffs. You certainly didn't think he was going to be the MVP. This is good. You've been here on this mountain. I'm glad you're staying there.
Well, it's such an absurd statement to make because you talk about, is it disrespectful for the Texans to be 9.5-point underdogs, but now you're saying that you trust C.J. Stroud more than Lamar Jackson, who's being more disrespectful now. I get it. You're all high on C.J. Stroud. I think C.J. Stroud is going to be a good, legitimate, great, potentially quarterback. I do not crown people before they do anything. I don't crown C.J. Stroud as the GOAT before he even fully finishes year 1, right? I mean, yes, has a great story. He's playing great. He's doing really well. He's gonna, he's already won, obviously, the playoff game. I get all that. That's all great. But, again, let's just, pump the brakes here, okay? I mean, first off, they played great against Cleveland. The Houston's defense really stepped up in that game, okay? I mean, gave 2 pick sixes, or at least 1 pick six. I don't know if it was 1 or 2, but it was definitely 2 interceptions at that point. Wait, I think it was back-to-back, if memory serves me correctly. I already forget. It was already a year ago at this point, it feels like. So much football has been played. But so again, this idea that CJ Stroud is just going to start lighting everyone up start to finish. I mean, put it this way. If you think C.J. Stroud is so good and so elite, and the Houstons are so good and so elite, Houston Texans, why would you not have them favored to beat the Chiefs? Why do you not have them favored to make it to the Super Bowl? He obviously doesn't have that. If the Ravens are clearly better than the Chiefs. There's not a single argument you can make to say that the Chiefs are better than the Ravens. And if that's the case, then why, if you're saying that this team can beat the Ravens, then you're going to say then you should say that the Ravens would beat, the Kansas City Chiefs. But we know Nick's not saying that. We know he's not saying that. He's never going to say that. So this just doesn't make any sense to me. This is just one of those hot takes. A lot of people have said this to me recently about these guys saying hot takes just to get clicks. I don't think it's that. I think there's some of that. I think these guys for the most part genuinely believe in their takes. I really, really do. I don't think, they're just here for theatrics and they don't plan their stuff ahead of time. They don't. That's the whole point. You catch people off guard. It's debate. When you get a bunch of people like this, they're not all going to agree with each other. And that people think that it's all, scripted because, they always disagree with each other and stuff like that. No, it's not like that because they agree, they disagree, and, it just is what it is. But I think when something like a Nick does this, it's that he believes that the Texans genuinely have a chance to win, which I could see that, right? And so if he says, I believe that they're going to win, what happens is one, you get a hot take, right? So people are like, what? Are you serious? That's what you think? And that sounds so shocking, right? And if he's right, it's like, I told you that's what was going to happen. You didn't believe me. I was the only one that said it, right? Now that makes him look amazing, right? It builds him up. Builds him up. And then if he's wrong, then it's also like, oh, you were wrong, and then it's like ragging on you, and it's still attention, right? Either way, it's attention towards you. And so I think that is a big part of Nick's game in that regard. Because if you really said to Nick, okay, put 10 grand on this, you had to bet on one of these two teams to win 10 grand, who are you putting on? I don't think he's putting 10 grand on the Texans. Okay, so I just don't believe that for one bit. But I do believe that the Texans have a chance, and I know that Nick believes that. And of course the Texans have a chance. And again, if CJ Stroud actually ends up being one of the top 4 elite quarterbacks in the NFL season after season after season, then yeah, he definitely has a chance, right? I mean, theoretically, who's saying that, that Lamar Jackson is a better QB from a career perspective than a CJ Stroud? And if we look at it from a career perspective, that CJ Stroud ends up being a better quarterback than, say, Lamar Jackson, well, then this is absolutely in the realm for him to show out and prove, that he's, that he belongs. It's completely, within the realm of possibility. Do I think it's necessarily going to happen? Not necessarily. When I watched that Cleveland Texans game, yes, CJ Stroud looked good, but I just don't think it was so much about CJ Stroud. Just put it this way. Love impressed me way more than CJ Stroud. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying that Love is better than CJ Stroud. I'm reserving that opinion until we see more. I'm never going to pick someone based off of one season of play. I'm just not going to do it. That's just stupid. And I'm not going to do it after just one playoff game. But what I'm trying to ultimately say is that when I watch both those games, it's when you just watch the skill set and the way how this all unfolded, Love, I keep wanting to say Kevin Love, Jordan Love looked better to me. Again, just the eye test. And I know they had very similar stats, but just the eye test. Jordan Love did things that looked more special to me. More like, whoa, my God, that was, oh my God. The way he was throwing, the way he was escaping pressure, the way how he was holding the ball to the very last second, going on the road to Dallas, where, who was a juggernaut, technically speaking, at home, right? Hadn't lost in 2 years. The fan base was rabid, ready to go. That, to me, was more impressive than what the Houston Texans did. And again, that's not to take away from the Texans. It's just that Jordan Love really, really, really impressed me. And if you watched both those games and didn't know anything about anyone, either of those teams, they were the only games you saw, I think for the most part, you would say, oh, I think Love looks a little bit better. Not by a lot, not by a ton, not by oh my God, it's not even close. But I definitely would say that you would watch that game and you would say, dude, who's this Love guy? He looks legit. And you would say, dude, Stroud is really great. He's really good. But I just think it would be a little different. I just think it's just that little extra accent on Love, the little extra emphasis. But that's just the way I see it. How do you all see it? Please let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so let me hear it down there. And please do not forget to subscribe. We are building an amazing community here, and it's turning into something truly, truly special, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really helps with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.